Hey, Technical Motivator here, and this is my response to the topic of the week, which was, do you think technology hurts or helps human engagements and interactions most? I think technology overall helps. I think the engagement of humans and the intent of humans is really what causes the issue. And the reason I say this is because the original purpose or intent behind any new technology that's introduced to us in our lives is really to enhance some sort of aspect in our lives, right? To enhance some sort of problem or solve some sort of problem and create some type of solution for a problem that we think we have. We can think about the advancement of technology and the things that it has provided us, the luxuries it has provided us, right? Being able to access large amounts of data from one search or one click, the evolution of phones to smartphones and being able to really do anything that we can imagine right in the palm of our hands. And I think as a society and as human beings, we kind of fail to focus on the intent behind the technology that we've been introduced or we've become accustomed to. I think because we thrive off emotions, we thrive off this false sense of needing to be included or these things, the need to be entertained, we look to these different technologies for a purpose that may or may not have been what its original intent is. And I think when we talk about the issue of technology and the impact it has on our lives, we so quickly resort to social media platforms, which I find very interesting because I think what we put emphasis and focus or value on in our lives is what really impacts our lives the most. So if we're focusing on using and relying on these platforms, which are ultimately techs themselves, right, built on larger technologies like the internet, I think when we put the values in these things, we tend to rely on them for certain things. So it's easier for us as a human to really have some sort of attachment or some sort of value or some sort of necessity for a certain fulfillment from these different things. But the tech in its original intent never changes from its original design, implementation, or introduction to our lives. So the Facebooks, the Twitters, the Instagrams, all these different social media platforms that people so quickly feel are negatively impacting our lives, they're intended to solve certain problems. Original intent maybe was to just pass along pictures or whatever to friends to be able to comment on those pictures. And I think when it got introduced to society, right, we accept it as a society because it's not only a one-person problem or assumed problem, it's a mass problem. And when it's introduced, we accept it for that, but then it ultimately, gets into the hands of humans, right? And it starts to go into the whole, how do you engage? How do you interact? How do you feel about these things? So I think technology and the advancement of technology has definitely helped us come a long way. Being able to get this knowledge, be able to have access to large amounts of data or stay connected with people all across the world, I think is a huge step in an enhancement of our lives, right? Because the older days that wasn't possible. And I think that people rely so much on these things nowadays, it's easier for them to blame it when something is going wrong, if that makes sense. So as an engineer, like the things we think about, and I often say, I want to engineer myself out of a job, right? And from that perspective, I'm really saying that in my day-to-day, there's a lot I have to do, right? Juggle X amount of things. If I can create a script that can handle 5 tasks that I can do, and save me 10 minutes, that's just what I do. And I think that's the approach techies or engineers take. And unfortunately, sometimes we create things that do put people out of jobs or certain things like that. But the original intent is never to really do that, right? The original intent is to create some sort of solution that will ultimately help or enhance your life or efficiency for a company or something in that regard. So I think overall, technology has definitely pushed us along as a people, pushed us along in the world, society, and things like that, and it will continue to do that, right? But I think as human beings, in the way we interact, we need to be conscious of that. And I think we need to really focus and stay tuned into what the original intent is of that technology when it's introduced to us. Think about the impact that it will have on us. Think about how it will change our mentalities and things like that. So I think overall, technology helps. Human engagement and interaction is what causes the issues. Check them out.